May my words be your word, O God, Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer. Amen. I'll get to the gospel in a minute, but first I have an observation. That second reading that Shirley did from 1 Corinthians is off by a full year. If only we had heard these words, "For the present form of this world is passing away," a year ago today, and not now, when I want to say, "No kidding, Sherlock." This past year has been a long, drawn-out observance of the world passing away that we have known. I don't think there is anything anybody or I could say this morning that would enlighten anyone beyond this point. So, to the gospel. Occasionally, I spend some time before I start working on a sermon by meditating on the reading I'm going to preach on. It's a way of Ignatian spirituality called imaginative prayer. You use your imagination to actually enter into the story. You become one of the players in the scene. You might be a blind beggar. You might be Paul just about at the time he was ready to be knocked off his horse. You might even become Jesus. That is not off limits, It's not sacrilegious to go into that role too. So I began this meditation by being Simon, who later becomes Peter. My brother Andrew and I are out by the lake one day fishing, what we do every day, all day long, and we've done it forever. Jesus is walking by and he calls out to us and he says, "Hey guys, follow me." I know who this man is. He is becoming really well known in town. He's talking about the good news of Yahweh. He seems like a good guy, and he seems to know what he's talking about. He's pretty sure of himself. But I really want to know more about him. I look at Andrew, and Andrew looks at me, and we decide without saying anything that, why not? The fish aren't jumping in the nets today, and we might as well get a little closer to the guy because it might put us right real close tonight when he's talking to the people who are gathered. In the back of my mind are two things. One, what if I give up this life of fishing for fish and fish for people? It seems weird, but this Jesus has such an appealing way about him. And who doesn't want a life better than this one with Rome breathing down our throats constantly? My second thought is that of my wife. What will she say if I don't bring dinner home tonight? My mother-in-law lives with us, and I have many mouths to feed, and she might not be real happy with me if I come home with nothing in those nets. At this point, I switched people. I become Simon Peter's wife. Because this is my imagination and my story, and I know more of the gospel story, it bugs me that I will never get my name in the credits. And no one would even know I existed, except that my mother gets sick, and later on Peter heals her. But I start to wonder what it would be like to follow Jesus too. Would I fish for people? Or would I be cooking and cleaning for a whole raft of people from dawn to dusk while they sit around and listen to whatever God was talking about in the form of Jesus and whatever he was doing to heal people? Would I get to sit close enough to him some nights while he was talking about God? Would I ever be included in those conversations? What would it be like to be a follower of Jesus? Would I learn that God loves me and there is nothing I could do to make that happen any differently, regardless of whether I say yes or not? Would I learn that all of us are being asked the same thing that Andrew and Simon were being asked? Follow me. I decide that by association, Jesus is asking me if I will follow too. Simon and I have been together for a long time, and we are a couple. And what we do together. So I guess this includes me too. Maybe I am being asked to drop what I am doing in my old life and do something different. I would probably still cook for a big group of people because I don't think anybody is ever going to stop Simon from fishing. but it will be different. We would be doing these things for a greater purpose, a purpose of love, love of God and love of others. And I would get to know Jesus in a real deep way, one that would change my life forever, even if nobody ever knows my name. That was when I popped out of my imagination. What I thought about after that were a couple of things. The first is that we aren't all called to be Simon or Andrew or James or John. We in the church have heard these Bible stories and have come to believe that only a chosen few are called to be saints or priests or disciples, that only a few of us actually ever hear those words, "Follow me." We have decided that since Jesus only called 12, that it is a limited club. If we don't directly hear Jesus say, "Follow me," then maybe we're off the hook. You know what? That's a lie. There is a follow me invitation for every one of us. It is irrelevant to what task you may ask to be performed once you agree to follow. But the wonder and the joy of knowing God is the most blessed thing in a crazy world, especially one that is passing away before our very eyes. For all the people in Scripture who get names, there are thousands more who also follow and also believe and learn that follow me too is for them. If not for them, nobody would be here today. We are also called to follow by a friend sometimes, or a friend of a friend. That has no less value. We are all called to be Jesus followers, and once we follow, we are all on equal footing with God. We always were, but now we know it in a different way. The second thing is, how do we know that the person who is asking us to follow them is a good person, or it's a good thing? I think we've all been made pretty aware of how words can lead people into following some pretty nefarious sorts. The evil that happens by following somebody who is bent on ruling the world with an iron fist is very real. They exclude others for their own purposes and create empires of their own desires with lies and fears and force. These groups and these people have been around for centuries, but our generation is getting a close-up view. There are some pretty good clues, though, to know if you are following good or evil. Does the person who calls you care for others, especially others who are different from themselves? Do they show mercy, feed the hungry, care for the sick? Does their system offer justice for everyone or just those in their immediate circle? Is everyone asked to follow, or just a select few? A gospel hymn that we sang right before Jen read this gospel story asks, "Will you let my love be shown? Will you let my name be known? Will you let my life be grown in you and you in me?" That's a good example of what to look for. Follow me. Listen to the words. Today's gospel is really short. Jump into the story for yourself. Enter into it as one of the players in the scene. And let that scene play out in your mind. Hear Jesus say, "Follow me." Or maybe take the role of Jesus and say to the people around you, "Follow me. Come and see." Do that for a little while, just a few minutes. It doesn't take a long time. And then step back out of the story and be yourself again. And how do you listen to the words you heard or said and apply them to your own life? How do you live those now? How do you follow? How do you encourage others to follow? Listen to the words and let them play out in your actions today or this week. What does it mean to follow Jesus? What does it mean to ask someone else to follow along too? If nothing else, we would find joy and peace in a whole new way, and maybe see a new way that is coming into being because that old one is now gone. May you be blessed this day. May you enter into those words, follow me. May you reach out to someone else and say, follow us. Follow the one I follow. Because I promise you that will change the world, and that will bring about a new day. In the name of God, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen.